Video is to show you guys how to do an agreement of purchase and sale for residential property. Um, we're going to go through step by step on how to fill it up and how to do it. And yeah, so this is only for the agreement of purchase and sale. So step by step on how to create one. So there's two ways of doing it. You can manually go to web forms and you can then create a transaction. You're going to name the transaction. So we're going to say 2216 Prospect, for example. So I usually use the address of the property. You can also use the name of the buyers or the name of the buyers. Something to remind you so you can go and find that transaction whenever you need. So I would say either address or go by buyer names. If it's multiple times you've used these buyers, a third or fourth purchase, what I usually do is put their name, dash, and then the property. So because you cannot use the exact same for many templates. So name template over here. So I've shown videos on how to create these templates. So we're going to do an agreement of purchase and sale. And then you can press on create. Okay. And then over here, you can do the three little dots, import data. So this will import the data on MLS if it's already on MLS. If the property is not on MLS, it's not on realtors.ca, then you wouldn't be doing this part. But if it is, so you're going to come here, you're going to click on Toronto Real Estate Board, since we're all Toronto now, freehold property, and then you're going to grab the MLS number. So for an example, I'm using this property here. So I'm going to take the MLS number. It's right over here. So copy, paste, automatically populate form. So what this will do is it'll automatically bring information from the MLS straight to the forms, and then import. So now we wait. As you can see, it's filled out some information here. So when we go into the purchase agreement, this information will be there. You still should go in and make sure that it's all correct, but it saves you a few steps. So that was one way of doing it. The second way of doing it is when you are in MLS, okay? So when you're in either Realm or Matrix, it doesn't really matter. They both have the same option. There is a button down here that says web forms. So if I click on web forms, it'll automatically take me to web forms and create that transaction. So you can see it's already there. And then you can start filling in the purchase agreement. So I would go purchase agreement. And then we're here. So it can go either way. You can manually go into web forms, create a transaction, import the information. You don't have to import anything. You can just create the transaction and manually put everything up. It's really up to you guys. Or option two, when you are in Realm or Matrix, you click on web forms. It'll automatically create a transaction for this deal with whatever package you have created in general, and then it will automatically upload the information. So you can see here we have seller's name, the address, the frontage, the legal description. It's not that much. That's pretty much all that's going to be coming up here. If you've noticed, everything else is empty. Well, the realtor's real estate brokerage and the realtor's name and phone number. It's not that much information, but it's some information. All right, so once we're in here, we're gonna start inputting the information. So which date are you creating this? So we'll do it for today. Who is your buyer? John Smith. And Jenna Smith. Okay. Here you'll notice it put them all under one line. So you could leave it that way, or you can remove it, put the other person here, delete, and then put the end. So I would always recommend doing it this way because when you go to the signature, so we'll go on page over here, you see they're both put together, but once we moved it with time, once I save it, it would switch Jimrod Swallow to down here. So it would look like this. And then it would be the same for your buyer representation agreement and the same for your confirmation cooperation. It'll split it all up. Okay. If you have more than two people, then you can write, here, comma, let's say there's another person. Oops. John Suelo. Okay. And Jimrod. Okay. So that's another way of doing it if you have more than two people. And if you have four, except you can add as much as you want for the lines. All right, then we have the address 2216 Prospect Avenue, Alta Vista and area, Ontario. I would generally just put Ottawa. So we remove this. Ottawa. Okay. Fronting on. So this is where you're going to go back. You're going to look on what it says. So fronting on. Oh, right here. Fronting west. Okay, so we'll go back. Fronting on the west side of Prospect. Whoops. Prospect Avenue. Okay. In the city of Ottawa. We have the frontage, so 50 feet by 100 feet. This should all be verified through Geo Warehouse. So when you are here, you're also going to open up Geo Warehouse. So you click on the Geo Warehouse button and it'll take you straight to the actual property. And this is where you verify who the owners are. Okay, so you can see it matches what they're saying. Oh. And then you've got the legal description, so you can verify that. If you keep scrolling down, you'll see here the frontage is 50 and the depth is 100 feet. So this is the information you have, and it's what you're going to go with. If you're manually inputting everything, you would obviously come here and grab all this information. So let's just keep going. So what is the purchase price? I think what this is asking, $749. We're going to put a purchase price of whatever you've agreed with your buyer. So let's say $740. Okay, it'll automatically write it out here. The deposit is herewith. So that means you're giving them a check or the money at the same time as you're giving them the offer. Upon acceptance, that's within 24 hours, as otherwise described in this agreement. So if you need more than 24 hours, you would click on this one, and then in Schedule A, you're going to add 72 hours, 48 hours, or after this condition is fulfilled, whatever you want. In most instances, it's going to be upon acceptance. You'll use this if the offer is being done on a Saturday and Sunday offices are closed, and the banks are closed, so it's hard for you to get a check. So then you would click this and you would say it would be delivered by end of day Monday, for example, in your Schedule A, or there's a holiday or whatnot. But most of the time you're going to use upon acceptance. Deposit amount, so we're going to put a $40,000 deposit, and then who the deposit is going to. The deposit is almost every time going to be going to the listing brokerage. So you're going to go here, who's the listing brokerage, right at home. So we're going to copy that. I'm going to paste it. Brokerage. Okay. So that's what's going to be as deposit. Schedule A is attached automatically in any purchase agreement. If there is a Schedule B, C, D, you must input them here or else they will not be valid with the agreement. So if there was a Schedule B, so Remax Hallmark always has a Schedule B, I would go comma B, and then if there is a C, and if there's a D, and if there's an E, if you're doing a bank deal, gentlemen, there is an A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so you must add the extra schedules if there is extra schedules. Irrevocable, this offer shall be irrevocable by the buyer, depending on what is requested. So if the agent on the selling side is asking for 24 hours, then give them the 24 hours. If it's something you're rushing, this is something you discuss with the buyers. It's when this offer is going to expire. So we're going to say it expires tomorrow at 5 p.m. Okay. Completion date, what's the closing date? So what day do your clients want to actually get the keys to the house? Let's say August 26th. Make sure it is not a holiday and it is not a weekend. You cannot close on holidays or weekends. The lawyers and the banks need to be open when you close. Okay. Um, that's page one. Page two. So this is where your email address will be as any documents that's receiving by the buyer. You will add the email address for the agent. So we'll just, what's his, I don't know his email address, but I'm just going to put random rose real property, for example. Chattels included. So you go back again to the listing. So the chattels included is inclusion. They have nothing. Okay, so here there's nothing, but generally there'll be, fridge, stove, dishwasher, anything your clients want, even if it's not there, you can add it. So we'll put fridge, stove, dishwasher, washer, dryer, hood fan, light fixtures, blinds. Garage. There's no garage, but if there is, you would put garage door opener if it has opener with remotes. Okay, because it's important. If there's a shed, you can put shed. If there was a pool, all pool equipments. Right, so it's realistically any chattel that your client wants, you're going to put into this offer, whatever it is. If there's a pool table you want in the basement, pool table in the basement, for example. And you keep going. All right. But your general stuff that's always going to be there is a fridge, stove, dishwasher, washer, dryer, hood fan, light fixture, blinds, garage door opener. These are kind of standard, and then it can go to whatever it is. All right. Fixtures excluded. So if you look at over here, exclusion, okay, they have nothing. So if there was something that they want to keep, it would be here. And then, again, it is up to you to put it. If your clients want it, don't put it, and then see how the negotiation goes. Okay. Rental items. So we're gonna go here. Hot water tank. So you got lease to own items. So hot water tank is almost going to be there 90% of the time, I would say. Um, and today I've noticed more and more we're also starting to see AC and furnace because of the rising cost of them. It's just cheaper. A lot of people can't afford to fully buy them out, so they'll rent them. So you'll have maybe a list here. So you would add whatever rental items there is. Now, see daisy, hot water tank, HWT. Now, something to note, just because they have it there as rented does not mean you need to take it. You could put NA at the hot water tank in the chattels, and then in your schedule, you would schedule A, you're going to put that the seller is going to buy out the furnace, the AC, the hot water tank, whatever it may be. Okay, so you have that option if that's what you want. But otherwise, if you're buying it as they have it, you would just put in here whatever they have. So hot water tank, furnace, AC, for example, if it's all three of them. HST. HST on any resale home, there is no HST. So you always put included in. Okay. In addition to is generally if it's a corporation to corporation, then HST would be an extra. But if it's, we're doing residential right now, so person to person, there is no HST on resale, so it's always included in. Title search. So title search is recommended date to be at least 2 weeks before closing. Gives time to the lawyer to pull up the title to see if there's any issues, and if there is any issues, try to rectify them with the seller so we can close on time. Okay, if you put the title search 2 days or 3 days before closing, and there is an issue of some sort, a lien on the property or some problem with the city or something, it doesn't give enough time to rectify it possibly, and then you're either delaying the closing, and it's just better to put at least, I would say, you know, 2 weeks. If you're really pressed on time, give it at least a week. So we had asked for August 26th, so we're gonna do it on August 12th. Again, make sure it's not on a weekend or a holiday. Okay? If you leave this blank, it just means that it would stay at the same usage. You can also add in here, residential home if you wanted, but you don't have to fill this up. All right, so the rest is just standard agreement. So over here we have the listing brokerage, their phone number, and the agent. This is the office number and not their personal phone number. All right, so and here you have yours. Now we are going to go to Schedule A. Okay, so you click on it, you do add clause, system clause, and then this is where you're going to add any conditions that you want. So we've shown you a way of presetting every purchase agreement with clauses. So if you've already set that up, they're all going to come. You just have to fix the dates for the conditions. If you don't, you manually have to do it this way. So first comes first, deposit and payments is the balance of the purchase price. Okay. And then you go back and I put things like, everything's gonna be working order, all the equipment will be working order. And then you go back and you just keep going down the list till you have all the conditions and any clauses that you wanted to add. So we're gonna do inspection, home property. Um, da, da, da. Keep going down. So if you want to put the insurance clause, you could put it, insurance condition. And then maintenance, I always like to put that the house will be delivered clean. Mortgage, so we're gonna get a mortgage, so arranging a new mortgage. Keep going down the list, so if there's anything else that's needed. And warranties, you could add things about the buyer not non-Canadian, and then the vacant home tax if you want. This is anything that you really need. If there's any tenant that you're assuming, you would go in here and put the tenant assumptions. If it's vacant possession you're looking for, you would go in here and put the vacant possession. The other one that's usually there, so zoning, none of this will be realistically in so there's survey, and then I would like to add this one if it's available. Okay, and then you would press, once you have everything, you go okay. So this is where you can kind of do not set the clauses, the conditions to be done at midnight. Try to put it at a reasonable time. So let's say 8 p.m. You know, today's the 7th. We'll go 1 week. It's whatever your buyer needs realistically. Generally it's 1 week. Okay, then you press okay. So same thing. Try to do all the conditions due on the same day. Less paperwork makes life a little bit easier. You only have to do one NOF instead of doing two or three. And then you press OK. Everything is here. So now we'll just look it over. So we've got the balance purchase, the warranty, and here for the equipment. So you see we have mechanical, electrical, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. Most likely, most houses don't have any of these. So we're going to delete that. No. Okay. Then inspection. And then condition this here, we're going to delete most of this. So it's on a mortgage. And then the rest we don't need. Okay. And then this generally put if available. Okay. So if it's available, they will give it to you. So this is a generic offer um, that we have created. So obviously every offer can have give or take or less. If you're doing an unconditional offer, you're not going to have any conditions. You might have more conditions. You might want to add things that you need out of the house. If there is septic and well, there's that condition you can add. So you just have to go through the clauses and add everything that you want, but they're all there. Almost all of them are there that you're going to use. There's nothing really more to the offer. Once this is done, you review it, you make sure that it's everything that you and the buyer have agreed on, and then you would move to the confirmation of cooperation, which will be the next video. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or Leah, and we'll be happy to help you guys out. Yeah,